T-Mobile breaks a promise. Ticketmaster gets even worse. Meta in the EU.
It's news to me. Welcome to It's News to Me, where the it is IT and the me is whoever it needs to be. I'm Noah Parker.
I'm Michael Trotter-Lawson.
And I'm Tyler Resnick.
So what's up?
And we have news.
For you.
Today. But first, this.
All right, so today's hypothetical question is oddly unpatriotic, I guess. I didn't think about... We're recording this on the 5th of July.
And now I have to get this out on time because everyone's going to know how long it takes me.
You can cut that part out. You do like the bleep of July.
We're recording this on the July.
Of July.
My question is, if for whatever reason you have to leave the United States and not come back, what place, country, city, where are you moving to?
That's hard because I've only been a few places outside of the United States.
I've never been, but probably like Sweden or Finland.
Really?
Yeah.
Those are like those Nordic countries are like the happiest in the world.
Yeah, I'd like to be the happiest in the world, so maybe I'll go there, you know. The only thing I don't like about this setup is that I can't look at both of you, or really either of you while I talk, because I gotta like, you know.
You can kind of like just look straight ahead and use your peripheral.
Just like
Michael Jordan when he played defense.
I need like eyes like a horse, you know.
Yeah. Maybe if I squeeze you hard enough, your eyes will like
Hey, there
separate.
you go.
Hey, let's just get like a pair of mirrors and just like set them up in
like
front of you.
245.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I can like look into that and see you.
I'd be like, down periscope. And then I can see both of you. That'd be great.
Man, this is great podcast content, talking about what our recording setup looks like.
Yeah, so imagine a rectangle table with me in the middle, and then Michael on one head of the table and Tyler on the other head of the table because it's a two-headed table.
Yeah. Double-ended table.
It's like cat dog, but both in like one end's Michael and one end's Tyler. But in a less messed up kind of way. They're not attached. Like they're just at the same table.
The table's attached.
The table's attached to itself.
So yeah, I don't know. I've never been anywhere outside of the country except for like the Bahamas and Jamaica and like Mexico, and I don't really count those as like places I'd want to be, especially because we were just before the podcast talking about how tropical storms are real bad.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to be in any of those places.
Yeah,
so maybe
see, like,
Japan.
I wouldn't want to go to one of the places that's like a big, well, first of all, I'd never want to live in a big city. But like a big tourist destination like the Bahamas or whatever, like I just feel like that'd be awful.
It would be.
Yeah, I can see that. I've only ever been out of the United States, also on a cruise to the Bahamas. Which hardly even counts.
Yeah, you're barely there, and then you leave.
I think I've always wanted to go to Montreal, Canada. I hear it's real gorgeous city. I've been trying to learn French for a long time, and they always say that the best way to learn a language is to go somewhere where it is spoken, and you learn it through having to use it, listening to it, and
that's how I learned to drive a 5-speed. I bought one. I couldn't test drive it because I didn't know how. You learn pretty quick when you need to go somewhere.
True.
And the thing is, like, the difference between, or like a major difference between French Canada and France itself, is that everything that I've ever heard about trying to speak French as a foreigner in France, they they just hate you for it. Like if you speak anything less than like complete fluent French, it's just like you're the scum of the earth to
That makes me not
French
want to learn your
people.
language, though. If you're going to be that way about
That's
it.
the thing, I don't
Gatekeepers
think-
of Canadian French.
Yeah,
Well, not Canadian French.
normal French,
like,
French.
Oh, the normal
French
French, are the
people in
problem?
France.
Oh,
French,
but the
yeah.
Canadian French are cool.
Canadian French are cool.
At least cooler.
Cooler because they're up north.
I've heard
get
that-
it.
They're different races and everything.
Well, I've heard that. See, it's like, to overgeneralize, Canadians are nice. French
Yeah.
people are mean.
Yeah.
So the French Canadians are meaner than normal Canadians, but they're way nicer than just the French,
They're not like, I'm sure if I went to France and I just started like, I just walked into like a cafe downtown. I was like, I'm sure they'd love that. They'd really appreciate it.
I feel like it'd go two ways. They'd either start like throwing baguettes at you because they hate you, or they would know exactly somehow what you said.
They're, oh, he's Francois? And I'm like,
You'd be
yeah, correct.
Oh gosh. But also, if I'm there in just Canada already, if it doesn't work out, I can just, Canada is like, it's as close to America as you can be without,
it's like Diet America.
being in the United States.
Yeah.
So
Diet. It's like we have America at home.
It's like America Zero. Like it's 0 calorie America.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually it's better for
It's
you.
like the LaCroix.
It's better for you, but it doesn't taste quite the same.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
yeah.
I think I would do
gosh.
Japan the more I think about it, because if as long as I can become a citizen, which I guess I have to be if I'm going to be moving somewhere else,
Sure. Yeah.
because it's very hard to become a citizen in Japan if you're not naturalized.
See, the thing about Japan is like, tall.
Yeah.
That would suck.
No, it'd be awesome. I think. I honestly think I would be like an
think so?
attraction everywhere.
Oh goodness.
But yeah, I would go to Japan. It'd be real cool.
I mean, it's a beautiful country. I do hear that they're starting to like hate tourists, and obviously, if you move there,
I would also. I'd be like, I don't like them either.
Well, but I mean, I feel like it would be a kind of thing where like you would definitely get not looked down on because
Looked up at, yeah. Get looked up at a lot.
They're doing a lot of stuff in Japan to like limit tourism now because like basically Americans, and I mean other foreigners too, but mainly Americans come over and they just mess stuff up because they, we kind of suck.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Hope everyone had a good 4th of July. Boy, this is going to be a good episode.
Well, you'll cut all these pauses out. Of
Yeah,
course.
I mean, this is our shortest hypothetical ever at 13 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, that
I
one's
could
kind
have
of cut
sworn
and
there
dry.
were some that. I could have sworn that there were more that were just like that, just short.
Well,
and to
we
the
normally
point.
continue talking. Like, we give our answers pretty quick, but it's like
It
we keep
usually
going.
leads us into some other conversation.
Some
but
big, long
now
thing.
we're just here.
Well, sure. Fair enough.
I mean, I could keep it. We could edit that out, and I could keep more going about, Japan and how cool it would be to live there.
No, that's okay.
I
think this is
do
just
you-
going to be a short episode.
Are you at all concerned about the fact that you don't speak Japanese, right?
Yeah, but there's like a lot of English. They speak a lot of English there too.
Okay.
Like they pretty much teach English.
I mean, the only country that you need to know the primary language for is ours, because most other countries learn English.
I mean,
Most main
Generally
touristy kind of
speaking.
countries.
sure.
I mean, their English is bad, but I could communicate with people.
It feels like a bit of an overgeneralization.
No, it is. It's basic. They know basic English.
Binglish.
I mean, I've watched videos of people that travel that are, at a restaurant and they're trying to order from a menu and they don't know and they're having a conversation. It's basic levels, it's not fluent. It's just they know, yes, no, like fish. Like, what is this? They say fish. Like they know.
Chicken.
Yeah. So they know basic
Well, I
stuff.
mean, English, that is one of those things about English is that it is an absurdly, I could not imagine trying to learn English as a second language, I feel like it would be just a nightmare. There's so many little nuances and whatnot. So many different kinds of English too. I just feel like it would be borderline impossible to, like, unless you, like, it's one of those things where, like, ends up being almost, I don't know, envious isn't the right word, but, like, people who are like, like the children of immigrants who, like, come in and their parents are, like, fluent in their own native languages,
right.
But they speak, English throughout all their, like,
they learn it in
school and whatnot. So they become, very easily bilingual and whatnot. I mean, I shouldn't say easily. I don't think it's easy for anyone to be bilingual, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to learn English now. But if I lived in Japan, I would just learn Japanese probably.
Sure.
It's pretty easy to learn from what I've heard. It's not too terrible.
Really?
The only thing that's weird about Japan is they have, like, the writing portion of it. They've got, like, 13 different symbols for the same thing.
Right.
So you've got to learn all the different ones.
That is one thing, and obviously different language, but, like, I was watching a video on like Mandarin the other day, and talking about, like, this, like, one word that's, like, anglicized the same way, like it's spelled out with the same English characters, but it means totally different things depending on the enunciation in which you say it.
Yeah.
Which is very intimidating in terms of, like, trying to actually replicate that.
Yeah, that's one of those things, like you said, it would be better for you if you were, like, watching the TV there and you were living and going and talking to people, because you just would pick those things up, as you go. But it's hard to learn that on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Like, incredibly hard. No, where did you say you were going to go?
Sweden or Finland.
Well, at least you don't have to worry
Norway.
about. Well, I don't know. They don't really speak English there either.
I would say they speak
I think they do.
definitely as much English as, they're in Europe,
Yeah. I guess that's true.
Like, I mean, in the EU, they generally speak using English, I mean, it's not like the primary language, but, it's, I guess now that the UK is not in the EU anymore, there are no, like, native English-speaking countries in the EU anymore.
I guess not.
Which is kind of wild.
Because, yeah.
Unless Scotland finally, breaks up. Actually,
unless, like, New Zealand decides, like...
Ireland is still in the EU.
New Zealand joining the EU would be like... it's like Cal joining the ACC. It's just as idiotic, but a possibility.
Did Cal join the ACC?
I thought so.
I can't keep track of the Pac-12, disillusionment.
Yeah.
So sad.
The ACC is Cal, SMU, and Stanford.
Wow. Yeah, the Atlantic something conference. What's
Atlantic Coast Conference. Atlantic Coastal Conference.
Oh yeah, because when I think of the Atlantic Coast, I think of
the Pacific
California.
Coast. So yeah, that's. I mean, it's a possibility, I guess. We should get New Zealand in on that. They'd be perfect.
In on what? The ACC?
Yeah, we should get New Zealand to join the ACC. They're actually probably closer to the Atlantic coast than the Cal Golden Bears are.
I feel like I missed a sentence in there somewhere. I don't know.
Well, you see, Noah, in football, in college football specifically.
I love you, Michael. I don't care.
No, this is so
this
important.
This is not a funny joke.
This is so important.
Boo.
Wait, no, we used to have conferences set up based primarily where, they were geographically.
Mm-hmm.
The Southeastern Conference
Yeah.
was in the southeastern United States.
Uh-huh.
The Atlantic Coast Conference was made up of teams on the Atlantic coast of the United States.
Yeah, like east side, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had the Pac-12.
There's Pacific.
Yeah, Pacific. What does the A stand for?
I think it's like PA is like Pacific.
Oh, is it just
I think.
the Pacific Conference?
PAC
Yeah.
Pacific.
Which were, a bunch of teams from the West Coast, but the Pac-12 just dissolved because money. So, yeah. But now since, there's so much money in college sports, they can just, fly all over the place, so it doesn't matter anymore. I mean, it does matter still. It's going to suck for all those student athletes who have to travel so much further now, but,
Yeah, the PAC is it's short for Pacific. PAC,
Okay.
like the first part of Pacific.
I see.
Pacific Coast Conference is actually what it's the full title. And then they changed it to the PAC. PAC.
Okay.
Used to be the PCC.
This episode of It's News to Me is brought to you by Burk IT.
Are you sure it's not Burkett?
I'm pretty confident that it's not Burkett.
I.T.
Yep, I.T.
Okay.
Burk IT is an IT managed services provider that wants to build mutually beneficial partnerships with our clients.
Now, why on earth would they want to do that?
Well, because unlike many of our competitors, Burk isn't looking for customers to bill when things go wrong. We have built our company so that we succeed when our clients succeed.
That sounds like a pretty good deal. Almost too good to be true.
It is almost too good to be true, but not quite. For businesses in East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, or the surrounding area, we provide security-centric IT solutions with our highly qualified team of engineers.
It's a highly specific area, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's why it's not too good to be true, because obviously not everyone gets the great opportunity to work with Burk IT.
Just good enough to be true.
Building trusted relationships by providing practical, secure IT results. That's the Burk IT way.
All right. So, have either of you ever used T-Mobile?
No.
Thank God.
All right, next one.
What about Verizon?
Yes. Next.
Boost?
No.
Sprint?
Yes.
I remember when you were on Sprint.
Mm-hmm.
Sprint, now part of T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Which is what we're talking about.
Sprint was great around here, but it sucked anytime I went anywhere else.
Yeah. I had Sprint too. It was not great.
Yeah. But anyway, do you all remember when T-Mobile was advertising themselves as the uncarrier?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Yeah. So basically, while they were doing that, they had a plan that they called the uncontract. Yeah. Yes. Where, it's a contract. But allegedly, the terms of this contract were you signed up, you set your price, it's very basic, phone line stuff. I think it was a very limited plan, very cheap plan, generally speaking. But when you signed up for it, you got it at that price for life, theoretically.
Until you didn't.
Yeah, the news is that the news is that now, just recently, earlier this year, T-Mobile quietly raised the price on that plan, just totally going back on everything they promised. And I suppose they left it in place for 5 years, which for if a normal cellular company left a plan at the same price for 5 years, that would be a very good thing, I'd say. But I feel like when you're making a promise that, this plan will never change its price unless you want to add something to it, it's a bad move to suddenly raise that price.
That's like getting married and then making it 5 years and then finally you give into the urge to cheat on your wife and you're like, honey, I made it 5 years though. That's a long time. Can you imagine?
So good.
I did really well. I'm sorry, but 5 years that's a long time. She'd understand.
And I don't know. And it's a crappy thing because hidden in the contract's terms of the uncontract
Yeah.
was, of course, the fact that
This is BS.
well, I mean, it was pretty much just like, we can raise this price. Like, we can do that. But it actually said, if we raise it and you don't want to pay it, we will, if you let us know within a certain time period, we'll pay your last month and you can go. But apparently also, the people who've discovered that in the contract's terms have tried to take them up on that, and they've actually didn't. They just kind of noped out of it.
They got the Boeing treatment.
Yeah. They were found with a bullet wound in the back of the head at the bottom of the ocean.
Well, I mean, come on. T-Mobile is not Boeing. Let's not make,
No, not yet. Give it time, though, Michael. No, that's bad. That sucks. Because, there's only T-Mobile, Verizon,
It's pretty much just
AT&T.
the three.
Yeah, so...
I mean, there are other, other kind of cellular services, but I think all of them use, they
all use the
Mint
same towers, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, they're all piggybacking off of another one of the big three. It's
Yeah.
just, Which I don't know how that works. How on earth can a smaller cellular company get to use the same towers that Verizon does, but charge less than Verizon? How does that work?
I don't know. I've thought about this myself, but I think basically from what I can gather, they get to use the towers, but the infrastructure past the towers, I think it still has to be theirs. Or even if it isn't, it's like they're getting a small piece. They're not getting the full. You're not getting the full experience as if you were first party Verizon carrier or user.
Or
Because I know, I used to do some testing with Mom had Boost Mobile, I think it was, and I had Sprint, and they're supposed to be the same towers.
yeah,
But service was drastically different. Because
see.
I guess you're QoS, your quality of service. They just cap you at a certain. You're not getting the same access that you'd get if you were one of the big carriers.
right.
But you still get coverage. It's just not quite as good. Speeds, especially. I think the wireless internet speeds are the thing you'd probably notice the biggest difference in.
I don't know. I mean, it really sucks for those people who were using T-Mobile who got this plan, especially there's a lot of people that are obviously very upset about it. A lot of people specifically who are elderly, because they saw this plan and thought, great. I don't need all the fancy bells and whistles and whatnot. I can just get this and never have to worry about the price going up. Always just having basic cell coverage. And, they just got screwed over, it's a scummy move. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it costs so little for a company like the size and scope of T-Mobile to just let it go, because that's got to be such a small percentage of their actual user base, and they got a lot of cancellations and whatnot out of changing this price. So it's I cannot imagine that this was in any way actually worth it, raising the price.
Well, I know I was on some kind of, not to the same extent that the T-Mobile plan was, but when I switched to Verizon when the iPhone 4 came out, I was grandfathered into some kind of contract that was unlimited everything for $60 a month or something, and I think they let me stay on that for 7 years.
Right.
Until eventually I needed a new phone, and that's how I was able
to get you.
Yeah, I had to sign a new contract.
Yeah.
But I was on that same plan for a long time, and they didn't say anything about it. And I'm sure that, because I didn't look, but I'm sure the cost had gone up in 7 years. That's just how it works.
Yeah, but when you're a company the size of Verizon, you can afford to, lose something for, a few years and you just well, because the thing is, when you do stuff like that, when you let them hold on to the, like your unlimited plan for like $60 a month, unlimited everything, then you're building up, customer loyalty. So when it's time for that plan to finally come up, when they need to get a new phone, when whatever happens, they know that, who they've been working with is going to continue to do good work for them,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like an incredibly stupid move by T-Mobile.
Well, especially like Sprint, who they acquired or merged. I'm not really sure how that went about, but Sprint's whole thing was like we're cheaper and we are very flexible and we pretty much don't go up in price. Like that was their way to get market share, and it worked. So it's surprising to see them kind of go away from that a little bit.
Well, they've changed CEOs and whatnot since then and whatnot. So it's, there's been a lot of turnover. Like the whoever, the big guy who like championed the whole uncarrier thing, he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's part of the
He's
reason.
unemployed. No, hit me with the... there we go.
Nice. Fantastic. All right, so I can't remember if we actually ended up talking about it on the podcast, but we had a short about it initially where Ticketmaster went through a pretty major data breach where, at the time we were just talking about all the PII that was lost, all the personally identifiable information. But today and yesterday, actually, the hacker group released that they also got the like tickets, like the barcodes and whatnot, for like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of tickets.
Yeah,
for
events.
Ticketmaster. The big ticket item thanks is 440,000 Taylor Swift Eras Tour tickets. Which, side note, the Eras Tour is still going on.
It's it's an era, last eras.
It's literally in the name.
Yeah,
I guess so, man.
this is an era. The Eras Tour is an era.
Man,
Yeah.
fair. Okay. Anyway, those tickets cost like $22 billion. Like,
A piece?
no, like collectively.
I just had to get one in there for me.
That's the aftermarket price.
My God.
No, but like, said anything about, Taylor Swift and all that other stuff aside, this is, literally billions of dollars of revenue that Ticketmaster has theoretically had stolen from them. So,
This probably isn't that much of a hot take. I don't really give a shit if Ticketmaster gets robbed.
yeah, no, screw Ticketmaster.
They had it coming.
They suck. They're the worst. But like,
StubHub for life.
I like SeatGeek myself.
I like that one sketchy website I used that one time. It was like buyticketshere.com or
Seats
something.
for you.
Hey, it worked out.
It was great.
They
concert.
accepted them.
I had fun.
Fantastic concert.
Anyways, carry on.
Shout out to Weird Al. It was on a great show. But yeah, anyway, they upped the ransom price on this data from $1 to $8 million. So
That's a small change.
for
For
Live Nation and
Ticketmaster, that's
Ticketmaster,
like
yeah.
they probably could find that in between the couch cushions.
That's probably like one show at like the Paramount.
Yeah.
They sell after resale fees and stuff.
I don't know. It's interesting though, because like, well, it's also like it's a little confusing to me. But I think they're also putting it on the market for that price. So like, if someone beats Ticketmaster to the punch here with, $8 million.
I'm going to buy it.
Hear me out. We buy it for $8 million, and then we try to get Ticketmaster to pay for it, but for more this time.
That sounds like a Dave Chappelle movie from like the late 90s. We're gonna. I can't even do my Dave Chappelle impression.
No, if we buy $22 billion of tickets for $8 million, that's a bargain, right?
Yeah, we could just sell them at cost.
We could sell them at like half price.
We'd have the whole world on our side here. Like, no one would be mad at us. Just saying.
Yeah, except the law, probably.
Nah. Cops like concerts, too.
I don't know. Maybe not that much.
You don't think that people who are police officers enjoy concerts?
I'm sure they enjoy concerts. Do you think they enjoy concerts enough to not do their job?
Probably a lot of them. I mean, we work in a cybersecurity place, and we're talking about paying this ransom money to get tickets, so not really much different.
We're joking. We don't have $8 million.
I wish.
Unless Tyler's really been holding out on us.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But anyway, I'm sure it will get resolved, but it is just another thing where, Ticketmaster is just the worst. Because, really, this breach never should have happened in the first place. They're also boasting, the hacker group behind it, they're boasting that this is the largest ever breach of personally identifiable information ever. And it's just, I don't know. I'm sure Ticketmaster will, get their stuff back. People will be able to,
pay overpriced
spend their life
tickets.
savings on Taylor Swift tickets and whatnot. But I don't know. I guess all we can really hope for is that, personally, I just hope, Congress finally does something about Live Nation, because good grief, that company sucks.
Is that the company that owns Ticketmaster?
Yeah, it's the company that owns Ticketmaster. They own Ticketmaster and a whole bunch of other venues and whatnot, which is part of why it's such a
problem.
Yeah. They have a, near monopoly on the live entertainment space. All right. So American companies are, no stranger to facing trouble from the European Union. And the latest trouble that we're talking about today is Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, are running into issues with, operating Facebook and Instagram in the European Union, because basically the EU has a rule where you have to get full consent from users before you can use their data for advertising and things like that, or you can take their data and whatnot. And if they refuse, you have to provide a quote unquote equivalent experience with just without personalized advertising.
That's not ambiguous at all.
Sure. Yeah. But the idea is that, basically you can't keep people off your services if they refuse to run personalized ads.
Right.
But what Meta is trying to do in the EU is implement a basically consent or pay policy where you either consent to getting personalized ads or you pay a monthly service to use Facebook and or Instagram. So basically the EU's argument here is that, by not providing, an alternative service where, people can still access Facebook and Instagram without consenting to these, personalized ads, without consenting to the personal data collection, that they have, violated this EU law.
Right.
Which, I think, based off of my, granted, limited reading and understanding of the EU, statute in place here, it would seem to violate that, because they're not providing an option to not consent and still get it. You have to, if you don't consent, you have to pay.
Yeah.
which is not,
Yeah, they're basically trying to quantify, I guess, whatever their loss would be for you opting out and then putting the bill on you.
right.
So they're not out anything.
Sure.
Is what it sounds like. It sounds like a business ploy, but
Of course. Of course. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, we've always known with the internet, with these things, that, if a product service is free, then you are the product.
Yeah.
Classic internet saying at this point. But, the fact of the matter is, if the EU's got this law in place to basically restrict the you are the product parts, then it kind of seems like Meta's kind of screwed here.
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously, the EU is under no obligation to allow Meta to operate in their countries,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know how they get out of that, honestly. Like, this sounds pretty cut and dry as far as, what the ruling is.
At this point, I think the only way that they're going to get out of it is, well, either bending to the EU laws here, which I don't think they're going to do, or by spending a ridiculous amount of money on fines.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know what the fines are like, but they
I
could probably
do.
still profit. They could probably still profit.
The fines, the relevant fines here are, I mean, it's one of those things, like American, same thing with like, crimes in the United States have ranges of punishments, ranges of fines, it comes down to the judge. And in this case, it's going to come down to the EU Commission. But basically, it can range anywhere up to 10% of the company's worldwide yearly revenue, which for Meta would be an absurd amount of money. But also, only 10%. But at the same time, like, I don't know, if you have to give up 10% of your revenue just to operate in the EU, I would be curious to know how that math would work out for them. Because obviously there's millions and millions of customers in the EU, but...
Yeah, and like, how many people are actually going to opt out of this? And how profitable is that in the first place for them? So they're going to be losing some money even if they comply. But is it 10% of your revenue? Probably not.
Yeah.
It's probably less than that.
But it's probably also a thing where, like, if they bend here and allow the EU to do this, and there's a good chance that, like, maybe some American lawmakers, some Australian lawmakers, New Zealand, these other, quote unquote, free nations and whatnot might see this and think, well, we're tacitly opposed to Facebook taking all of our citizens' data too. So,
Yeah. I don't really think it really benefits them to fight it. But, I mean, I guess it could if, for whatever reason, there's a large number of Europeans that are just like, no, you're not taking our data. And then they're losing money anyway. It's still probably better, like you said, more beneficial to show the stance you're willing to take on it, posturing for other countries.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It just, generally speaking, it seems like multi-billion-dollar American companies don't really have any respect for the European Union.
Yeah.
Just, looking at past precedents and, like even like we were talking about the Teams antitrust case in the EU a couple weeks ago. And, Microsoft made some, like, slight changes to, their offerings there as a way to try and get out of fines. But ultimately, I think at the end of the day, most American companies just don't see themselves as answering to the EU at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't think they're that willing to make changes based off of, a European governmental body. Granted, I don't think they're that willing to make changes based off of a American governmental body either, but also the American one doesn't really ask them to do much. So you're awfully quiet now.
I'm trying to think. I could live in like a castle in Scotland.
I'm not sure I would want to live in a castle in Scotland. Sounds cold. Sounds cold and lonely.
No, a lot of castles you can
And rainy.
You can get all those modern amenities.
Well, yeah, you can, but also like, within reason. I mean, most European houses and whatnot, they don't have AC.
Well, yeah, but it's somewhat colder.
Well, it was
Definitely rainier.
It used to be anyway.
I'll bring a fan or a window unit. We'll be fine.
Now it's 28C, whatever that means.
That's how many oceans.
It's bloody boiling here.
that's
It's
how many-
28 degrees Celsius.
That's how many oceans you have to cross.
28 C's.
Yeah. to get to the EU from right here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like when they put that on me to figure out how hot it is.
Who puts that on you? What do you mean?
People,
People?
Europeans.
They just every time they want to know how hot it is, they call
No,
you.
they're making like a declarative statement about like
How hot
it's
it is.
bloody boiling over here, and they're like it's 28C.
Well, the thing is,
I don't know what that means.
this might be a bit of a hot take here, a bit of a 28 degree Celsius take.
That could be cold. I think that sounds cold to me.
No, but like, I think that the metric system, generally speaking, is a smarter, more intuitive measuring system. I don't think that extends to Celsius.
82.4 degrees.
Okay,
That's not.
so it's
hot.
warm.
They're just being wimps.
Here's the thing. Like, I saw like a great. I can't remember where I saw it. Maybe it was on iFunny even back in the day. But like, I find Fahrenheit to be a much more useful way of measuring temperature because like, or at least like outdoors temperature.
Outdoors. I was about to say outdoors specifically.
Because like, 0 degrees Fahrenheit
Cold.
is pretty darn cold.
That's about as cold as it can get for me.
100 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's warm.
That's very hot.
It's about as hot as it can get outside.
At
That's it.
0 degrees Celsius, that's kind of cold. At 100 degrees Celsius,
You're dead.
You're dead.
Yeah.
You have died. Heat stroke.
Not even heat stroke. That is boiling alive.
Heat stroke.
That's bloody boiling.
It is literally bloody boiling.
No, you just have a heat stroke. You'd be fine.
You'd have a heat stroke
Well,
long before then.
Also, like 70s. Like when you think 70s in your head, like it's 70 degree. Like 70s in your head, you're just like
Disco.
that's fine. That's like chill.
yeah.
You think 70 degrees Celsius, that is like really literally bloody boiling as well.
Yeah, that is also like death. Like everything above like 50 degrees Celsius is like murder. But it's just like, I don't know, you have a much more narrow degree of numbers in terms of Celsius as far as like practical outdoors weather.
I think we should just switch to Kelvin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the third take.
it's the third take. I'll be that guy.
Come on, woo!
Thank you for listening to It's News to Me. If you enjoyed this content and would like to see or hear more like it, check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@BurkIT or go to our website at burkitc.com. Our theme music is Big City Lights by Icholix. Come back in 2 weeks to hear more of me, Noah, and Tyler in the next episode of It's News to Me. In the meantime, keep your data secure and your mind sharp. Kelvin's even worse. Because 0 degrees Kelvin is you're dead.
Better
100
yet-
degrees Kelvin, you're dead.
Better yet, hear me out.
Where's the middle?
What if we devise a new system solely based on the quality of structure of my ice cream? If it's melting, it's hot. If it's just sitting there, it's cold.
If it's solid, it's very cold.
Yeah. The ice cream system. We'll call it the...
The Ben Jerry factor or something?
I was thinking like the Mayfield factor. I just
Yeah.
thought that had a cooler sound to it.
It's 32
We could call it. We
Mayfield.
call it Blue Celsius.
Blue Celsius. It's 2 degrees Blue Celsius. There's only 5 degrees. See?
Yeah.
And each degree matches the state of ice cream. It's 3 degrees Blue Celsius.
Yeah.
If you leave the ice cream out way too long, it's 5 degrees Blue Celsius. Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's sweltering in here. It's 5 degrees Blue
Yeah,
Celsius.
your ice cream's liquid at that point. And everyone could it could just divide. You wouldn't even need to know a language.
Yeah, you just,
It's just pictures. Of
Yeah, you come
ice
in,
cream.
you're
If
like,
your ice cream looks like this, it's this degrees.
it's a little bit nippy in here. It's 2 degrees Blue Celsius.
Yeah, it's perfect.
3 degrees Blue Celsius is like perfect. That's
and
like room
ice cream's
temperature.
natural stance is at 1 degree Blue Celsius.
Yeah, 0 degree Blue Celsius is when it's like
Freezer
it's
burnt.
2. Yeah,
Yeah.
There's like little crystals on it.
Yeah, and you don't want that.
No, that's bad. All right, we've accomplished. For nothing else, this episode we've accomplished a brand new measuring heat system,
Temperature
monitoring.
monitoring.
I think I'm going to stick with Fahrenheit.
I like Blue Celsius.
I like Blue Celsius too.
I'm actually gonna start using it. At the
We could call it Blue
office.
Fahrenheit if you'd rather.
Blue Fahrenheit. Baron the big blue
No,
Fahrenheit.
Blue Bellenheit.
House.
Blue Bell and height. Ben and
Jeez.
Jarenheit.
So that one would be like there's like 20 different, or how many different flavors?
It's too many.
32. That's Baskin Robbins.
All right, I'm gonna end the episode.
No.